Hello, Internet. I'm on vacation. It's summer. It's hot as balls in here right now because I had to shut the window because it's too noisy outside. It should be all good, but apparently for a writer at the USA Today, the summer is problematic and very sexist, so she felt the need to write an entire article that basically lists ways in which summer is oppressive to women. So I took many notes to break down the bullshit. So I thought that I'd do my things and complain and rant, and here we go. The whole thing starts with summer, the best season. It's positive, it's a good start, and then it goes on, especially for women. Time to panic, because you know what you want to advise people to do is to panic about something that will solve all of your problems. And what follows in that paragraph is basically a list of ways summer victimizes women. There's a pressure to have a beach body, you're expected to shave, you're having to take responsibility for sending the kids to summer camp because apparently your man is either won't do it or is too inept to do it properly. And that's not me saying that or paraphrasing, that's what they say in the article. There's also the pressure to pressure yourself to not eating certain food. I guess that's related to the beach body. And there's the sexism, but the one I keep for last because I had no idea that was something that's oppressive to women. Apparently, it's really hard to women to have to text a friend so they know your jogging route. I guess that's a thing. I feel that's like a middle class sort of problem. But I've never went jogging with a friend, so I've never texted a friend to tell them about our jogging route, but whatever. Quote, society sends women messages about how they should look and act, but summer can dial up the volume on gender differences. The idea that a woman's worth lies in her beauty is more pronounced during a season where her body is more exposed. Which makes sense. But this is all about women feeling that society tells them what is expected of them. Here it's to be beautiful. That's what's expected of a woman. And if they don't comply, then they are valued as much as those who comply. At the root of this, what we have is a resentment of competence. The resentment that some women are better at something than you are. It's a resentment of a society that assigns value to people instead of automatically granting it to you according to your egalitarian belief that you have an inherent value as a human being, which means you are entitled to some reward for like merely existing, like value me, I exist, I don't need to be good at anything, I'm already valuable. And that's pretty much just entitlement, because you can't accept that we're part of a hierarchical species that assign a value order to things. Some people are beautiful, some people are not. That's just how it is. So what follows is more way summer oppress women. Sexual assault is higher in summer. It can trigger eating disorder because Women magazine promotes celebrity diets and ways to ameliorate your appearance by getting rid of cellulite and stretch mark. You don't have to consume these products. If you consume a product like a magazine, or if you go on Instagram all the time and you feel bad about yourself because you look at beautiful people all the time, you're causing your own issues. Distance yourself from what gives you anxiety. And in this bit, men are mentioned in this section, but women have it worse. And there's also being at war with your body hair. Again, men are mentioned, but it's really important to understand that women have it worse. Quote, women and girls are more likely to be seen as completely lacking in value if they don't live up to these narrow expectations of beauty. I'd like to mention that men who aren't successful or rich are also seen as not having value, so don't pretend this is just something bad happens to women. Men experience something else of equal value here. Like, mention that too, that would be nice. And the crux of their issue in this section is the unfairness that beautiful women are seen as having more value and how they lose attention from people because of it. This is this whole being beautiful thing that you see all the time on social media like Instagram, which I don't like, as you might have noticed. This is a game. Being beautiful is a game that you choose to play. So you have a choice, either play it or don't play it. But if you don't play it, then deal with the possibility that you might lose, because some people are more competent at playing it. There's winners and there are losers in every game. And if you choose not to play it, then don't fucking complain that you aren't winning. More ways. Sexual objectification that leads to sexual violence and feeling unsafe being out into the world while running, hiking, camping. The world is a dangerous place. It's naive to think otherwise. And it's especially hard for men, actually, since they're statistically speaking more likely to experience violence and assault than women are. And I wish the world wasn't like that, but that's how things are. If article like this exists, insist that things change so that women feel safer, it isn't a sign that the world is oppressive to women. It's the opposite. It means that you're quite privileged to not only be able to freely voice your opinion, in which many women around the world are not allowed that right to speak freely, but you're privileged. But you also have the expectation that a large public is likely to hear you and try to solve your issues. All of that are signs of privilege, not oppression. But there's more ways in which women are oppressed, like worrying about your kids and doing the bulk of childcare. To me personally, I solved this issue by not having kids. Modern feminism, yay. And women do the bulk of childcare, and I feel like I'm femsplaining or something here, because it's so fucking obvious why. It's because men don't have babies. They do not have the uterus. If they did, they'd be a lot more like women, more attentive to the baby, more caring about the baby. They want to be in the baby's life a lot more. So men can't have babies. So what do? They have to go out into the world and find something else of value to do. That's why men do the bulk of the work outside the home. That's why men, generally speaking, work more hours at their job than women do. And that's why men do the bulk of the work, like in the yard. They shovel the snow, they cut the lawn, they fix the car, they clean the gutters, they do all the dirty jobs that women don't want to do. They stay inside the home with the kids, and it has its own worth. Like, stop trying to downplay this. The worst part about this section is the complaint about how there isn't enough option for you to offload your kids on somebody else since school is closed. So what do you do with the kids? Like, children are a burden you wish to be delivered from by relinquishing your parental responsibility onto somebody else. There's a lot of parents out there, and I'm not just talking about low-income families who struggles to make ends meet, but like middle-class families who are too busy living up to a lifestyle, like to keep up with the Joneses, as the expression goes, than taking care of their kids. Your kid doesn't give a fuck that they live in a home or in a nice suburb. Like, if you can't afford your home, if you have to work all the time to afford your lifestyle, maybe you'll be better off in a small apartment that allows you to spend more time with your kids. Like, nowadays, children and people like younger than me complain all the time that they don't know how to do anything, from changing a tire to doing their taxes. That's all things parents are supposed to teach you, but parents aren't around anymore. They work too much. The focus is on making money instead of showing your children love. They don't have the time. They work, so they buy stuff to the kids so they can entertain themselves with those things, so they don't have to spend time with their kids. It's messed up. It's really messed up. Quote, for those thinking women can simply choose to ignore social pressure to play by their own rule, experts say they're underestimating how powerful and pervasive cultural messages are. On the one hand, women are making individual choices. They are not complete dupes of the system. They are architects of their own lives. On the other hand, those choices are being made within a system. The system sets up the pros and cons, the reward and punishment. No amount of wishing it were different will make it so. No individual choices change that reality. So women can make their own free choices, but they're making them within the confine of the patriarchy, which is basically your hierarchy supposed to benefit men primarily. So even though you feel like your choices are freely made, they aren't, because you're just a drone in a system that built people up so it can benefit the system. So you're free, but not really, because you're still a slave. You make your own choices, but not really, because things don't just benefit you. They also benefit the system that you hate. Like, the mental gymnastic here to fit like two opposing narratives could be his own words are hard, people. Words are really hard. It could be its own philosophic. Never mind with this section, okay? The joys of not editing videos because I'm too lazy. Okay, so we move on. So this part is pretty much like women are oppressed by reality. Here's the thing, if you benefit from a system, you're oppressed by it, especially if you have the same legal right as your oppressor. If there are negative ways in which you are affected by a system, it isn't because the system oppresses you specifically because of the group you belong to. It's just the nature of reality itself. Bad things happen. It's actually a sign that you're highly privileged to think that as a woman you should be expected of experiencing anything negative that makes you feel bad. So writing an article like this becomes a testament to your own sense of female entitlement. Quote, there is some sociological and anecdotal evidence that these pressures can get easier over time when you develop a stronger sense of self, when you don't let self-worth be determined by others' ideas of you. So a bit of psychology here. Women feel more pressure because, generally speaking, they tend to rate higher in agreeableness, which is one of the 5 dimensions of personality, which means they are more likely to want to do what is expected of them so that they will be liked by others. Women are a lot more collectivist, while men are more collaborative. They want to be part of the group more than they want to be apart from it. Being a pariah, it's hard. That's why they have such a need to conform to beauty standards and such a hard time to oppose them or establish themselves outside of the standards. Agreeable people want to please others. They want to be seen as good, so when they are made to feel bad by others, reaction to them, it's very unpleasant to agreeable people, so they can become resentful of others who aren't appreciating their effort hard enough. And it's part here of the entitlement process that some women develop. Quote, it's also important to increase awareness of the sexist message you're receiving, whether they're coming from social media or friends and family. It will help you broaden the scope of what's beautiful, which I could make an whole video about just that. Okay, so the message here is you could get more resilient, which is a word you use in the article, but you shouldn't have to, because sexism is to blame here, not you. You don't have to make an effort to become more resilient. Society should change, not you. This is all about knowing you have so much power that your mere complaints can be heard and will cause change, which, as you're seeing now, it's like it's a recurring theme in this article. While still thinking you have no power because you're a woman and you're oppressed. Like, again, like I tried to say earlier but failed with the word, like they have that 2 different narratives that's competing against each other, so and they're trying to make them fit together, but they don't. It's like, welcome to 4th wave feminism, everyone. Women deserve to enjoy summer. They deserve all of it. Too bad it will be many more summer before they get it, because the utopia isn't here yet, and that's because of men and the patriarchy. This is the kind of sentences that breeds entitlement, resentment, arrogance, and an inflating sense of yourself that's disguised as positive self-worth. You're worth it, woman, you know? It breeds a high, if not impossible, expectation of how things should be. Like, you know, utopia or nothing. Like, this portrays women as having a completely biased view of reality, where their gender is seen as disproportionately affected by an unfair reality. That's why they don't mention how men are oppressed by summer, just women. This is how feminism has encrusted itself into the social narrative by twisting things around to push the idea of female oppression by men in society. The goal is to allow women as a group to gain power by successfully engineering a new social hierarchy based on victimization and oppression. This is becoming more and more obvious as time goes on. If you wait for things to change before you start appreciating them, you'll spend the rest of your life being bitter and angry, which is no way to live a life that you can find, you know, peacefulness and contentment with. You don't want to be bitter and angry. That doesn't serve you. The only thing that serves is your feminist agenda. Appreciate that you live in a culture where it's socially acceptable for you to walk around in a bikini. There's millions of women around the world who are denied that right. Appreciate that we live in a culture where we invented sunscreen so you can walk half naked around the world without burning up, without getting skin cancer. Like, since the dawn of humanity, people had to cover themselves off to protect themselves from nature. You don't have to. You have, like, do things that makes you extremely privileged, and I wish more people would be appreciative of what they have. But no, feminism, after all, is about finding flaws everywhere, finding ways that women are oppressed by reality. So you wind up with, you know, people who write articles about how summer is oppressive. So that's it. That's the rant of today. I'm gonna go ahead, be oppressed more by, you know, doing whatever I want, whenever I want, as I freely choose. So, and I'll see you around next time. Bye.